Okay, and now we're back.
What's up?
It is the next day, and this is completely dry, this base coat. And again, this is the permanent magenta, and it creates a nice foundation for everything that's going to happen from here on out. Next, we're going to start building up some depth, some color. And when you're working with oils and acrylics, the general rule of thumb is to go from dark to light. So it's good to remember that. For my darkest dark, I'm going to use this. It's a Prussian blue. Prussian blue is an incredible blue, a nice, deep, rich blue. A lot of artists kind of shy away from it a little bit because it is so intense. But to be honest, I use it in place of black because I don't use black. I think it's dulling. And I know a lot of artists who use black very effectively. But my personal preference is when I want to go dark, I go Prussian blue. If it needs to be a little bit darker, a little bit richer, I may add some alizarin crimson, and that makes an incredible purple that is almost black. So for my darkest shadows, my darkest darks, I use Prussian blue. So we're going to mix up a little bit of this, and of course our glazing medium, just to give it a little bit more movement. Extend the paint just a little bit and add a little bit of water, just so it doesn't dry quite so quickly. And really what I'm doing now is just creating kind of the bones of the painting. I'm creating a backdrop that everything else is going to rest on top of. And in terms of design, I mean, this is when it really starts to get into intuition and personal preference and what you're trying to achieve with a particular piece. I know that with a lot of my pieces, I tend to have, you know, my own little quirks, my own little preferences. I like to create with a piece like this, just to establish focus and boundaries and things like that. I always kind of gravitate towards vignette effect. So a lot of my darkest darks are going to go along the sides, and then they'll start to bleed in a little bit to where I want them to kind of add focus. And I have an idea of where I want to go with this painting. I know, okay, so I'm going to start here, and you see how deep and how rich that is. And you can also kind of see how it reacts to and create soft.
Wow.
Transitions. Okay, and we're just slapping it on there right now. A little bit of water. And you can really see that magenta kind of pop through. Okay, so it's a basic idea. I have an idea of where I want this piece to go. I know that I want to emphasize the netting in some way. I'm not really sure how, but to kind of go with that idea, I'm going to follow the lines a little bit and just see what happens. And you're starting to establish a design, just a little bit.
So listen close, hear my thoughts in every note. Make me your radio.
Keeping these edges a little more opaque. Make them a little, emphasize that contrast as you go towards the interior of the painting. And really this is just kind of drawing the eye across the canvas. And this is just step 2. So we are building our layers. We're going to mix in some phthalo blue. just to kind of soften it up a little bit and add some depth. So that's it for a bit, just to get a little tacky.